And welcome back to Square Off. I spoke with Democratic vice presidential nominee Tim Walz this past week after his campaign stops here in the Valley. We talked about the top issues in Arizona, and he had an interesting take on a Republican-backed ballot measure that would allow Arizona cops to arrest border crossers. Democrats here warn the measure is the second coming of SB 1070. Walz told me the measure demonstrates the need for the broader immigration response in Kamala Harris's border security plan. Here's an edited version of our conversation.
One of the things I hear often from voters as they go around is our economy stinks. Yeah. I know you hear it, and I asked Jay Pritzker about it a week ago, and he said the message isn't getting through. Does your campaign need to change the message on the economy to reach the voters you need?
I think we just keep getting at them. Look, folks know if prices go up, housing becomes more expensive, and I've talked about this. You know, it doesn't spending time on that Donald Trump left a mess when he left. They want to know what we're doing right now, and I think where Kamala Harris is talking about making housing more affordable. Her revelations that she put out yesterday around the idea of in-home care on Medicare and for seniors, these are the types of things I think, especially in Arizona, people care about this, the ability to have Medicare help with hearing, with vision, and then talk about those things like tax cuts going to the middle class, because Donald Trump has not put out a plan. He just complains about things. He likes the idea that it's there. They did the analysis on it.
What of all that hits home for me?
I think the biggest things is making sure that we need to retarget the tax cuts to them. I think the housing pieces of it, that there's going to be an opportunity for down payment assistance. I think some of these price gouging that we saw this happen this week in Florida. Airlines all of a sudden selling tickets to get out of Florida at a really expensive price. That stuff is the things that really irritates people. And then I think growing those small business pieces of this, we make sure that there's that $50,000 tax credit to it. Look, globally people are seeing this. We're still seeing interest rates come down. We're seeing wages start to go up. But I've said if people are still feeling like they're pinched on this, they're still feeling pinched. And that's why you need to continue to give them this. I would ask voters, what is Donald Trump offering you in this? Because what we know is that his proposals will raise interest rates, they'll raise inflationary costs, recessionary, and they add to the national debt. This is a real plan aimed at the middle class.
Let's talk about the border. There's going to be a border initiative on our ballot that asks voters whether to allow police to arrest undocumented immigrants when they come into the country. Polling shows it is going to win by a wide margin. How do you think that initiative might affect the vice president's chances here in Arizona? What does it tell you about the border here and what you need to do?
Well, I think with people focusing on it, I think it helps our chances. You've seen this both in her debate and my debate, that there's no plan from Donald Trump. Look, we have a bipartisan border bill for some of the most conservative members of Congress, senators, Republicans. We've got border patrol agents. We have got a plan to put 1,500 more border patrol agents there, improve DOJ's ability to be able to adjudicate these things quickly, put equipment on the border, do all those things in a state like Arizona that recognizes legal immigration is an important part of your economy. And I think some folks saying that why aren't we getting this done? It's very clear Donald Trump doesn't want to solve it. If he would have, he had 4 years to do it. He didn't do anything about it. So I think when you're hearing people focused on the border, I trust folks in Arizona know this is an issue they care about. They want it fixed. We've got a bill. The vice president said she would certainly sign it. We've got bipartisan support. Donald Trump blows that thing up for his own interest. I think there's a lot of smart folks out there listening and say, look, we can talk both things about border security and about treating people decently. You don't have to demonize like we saw on the other side. You don't have to make up stories about immigrants, but they want to see something done, and I think that's there.
So you think the ballot measure on our ballot that voters are likely to approve helps?
Well, I think voters focusing on immigration helps, because I think what they've seen is that we're leaning into it. We're talking about what the solution is. And again, I think these folks saw it. Donald Trump wasn't doing anything about it. He certainly didn't build his wall. He didn't have Mexico pay for it. And what you're hearing from all the experts, if they're talking to the folks who know what'll make a difference here, you see it, the mayors down here know this, that look, we need to pass this. We need to put something in. That takes Congress's approval. They're ready to do it, but it takes a president ready to lead.
Lastly, the election. You mentioned conspiracies. They are already rife in Arizona. How concerned are you about that affecting the vote and even the results here in Arizona?
Well, Americans will vote. We know that. I was just with a group of veterans at a VFW hall. This is the most sacred thing we do. It was clear, and I said, Senator Vance, I asked him a straight-up question about the election in 2020. He wouldn't answer it. That is simply false, and they're not telling the truth. Fact of the matter is, get out, cast your vote for whoever you vote for. Vote will be secure. count them, and the winner will be announced. That's the way this works. This has always worked for nearly 250 years till Donald Trump came along. And I think now you're seeing spinning some of these conspiracy theories because the momentum's with us. We know this was going to be a tough fight, but we're seeing people show up. We're seeing them show up in VFW halls. We're seeing them show up across the country. They're ready to vote for a unifying president, a president who doesn't try and divide us, doesn't name call, someone who says she wants to be president for all Americans.